Welcome, everyone, to the gathering at the Cosmic Fire 2024 Summit, a celebration of the source of our awakening. Whether you were nurtured by earth-based wisdom your entire life, you were blessed to meet a teacher along your path, or you are listening here today on the threshold of something new, each one of us has been gifted an opportunity to awaken more deeply in every moment and to be of sacred service. Together, we are embarking on an amazing adventure. Around the cosmic fire, honored shamanic earth-based healers and teachers from around the globe will share their stories of awakening, each offering beauty and illuminating wisdom and medicine ways that may be our most valuable natural resource. This gathering is brought to you by Shaman's Directory, an online global platform dedicated to bringing shamanic earth-based services to the world's doorstep. At Shaman's Directory, we are committed to honoring the Earth's living lineages, the medicine people and communities who invite our human family to heal, to awaken to a better, more kind, more sustainable way forward. I'm Trisha Bennett, one of your hosts at the Cosmic Fire, and I am delighted to welcome Elio Geusa. Welcome, Elio. It is an honor to have you here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Trisha. I'm very excited to be here today.
Well, we are thrilled to have you with us today. So before we begin, for those of you who do not know Elio yet, I'm going to take a moment to let you know a little bit about him. Elio Geusa, the founder of Aya Healing Retreats, brings over 13 years of experience as a qualified social worker, deeply involved in international humanitarian projects that support individuals with mental health issues and refugee populations across Asia, Europe, and Australia. Driven by his belief in transformative, loving action, Elio has been devoted to the path of plant medicine and ayahuasca since 2009. His extensive training in Peru includes studying under the revered Mahua family and engaging in numerous master plant dietas with respected curanderos of the Peruvian Amazon. This profound engagement with sacred plant medicines has enabled Elio to experience significant personal healing and growth. Motivated by these experiences, he established Aya Healing Retreats to share the healing potentials of sacred plant medicines and the ancient wisdom of the Amazon indigenous traditions. His work exemplifies a commitment to fostering deep healing and growth through traditional and spiritual practices, aiming to enrich lives and expand understanding of these ancient pathways. Elio's dedication is a testament to his passion for healing and service. We're so delighted to have you here. And the topic that you have offered for today is From Plant to Spirit, the Shipibo Path to Spiritual Awakening. So this summit is all about awakening. It's about our own individual awakening, and it's about awakening as a human family, and it's about honoring our teachers. And you do all of those things. You offer all of those things so beautifully. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your own journey before we dive into the topic today.
Yeah, I like this question. And I'm going to take the opportunity then to honor my grandfather. Remember him. He's not in his physical form anymore, but his guidance and he's still really strong within me. And of course, his spirit is very felt. When I was very young, I got to spend a lot of time with him, right? I'm from Italy and from the south of Italy, right? So my grandfather used to be a farmer. Of course, he had beautiful grapes and made great wine, rosé, and but also he was very connected to plants and spirit, right? And you have to see the south of Italy back then. It's the curanderismo, shamanism was very much something alive, maybe something that it's gone by now, right? But I still remember when I was 8, 9 years old, people from the village, this is a small village of the south of Italy, people from the village will come and visit him, right? Usually because they want to release their headache or had issues within the body, or maybe sometimes they had issues within the family, right? Broken family or their relationships. So it was performing different rituals, right? Using the branches of olive trees. So the south of Italy is full of olive trees, right? And so it was also very well known. In Italy, it's called raptomante. Raptomante means a water searcher, right? Is the person that finds the water on the ground, right? And used to use the branch of its olive tree. Its connections to the plants, to the tree, to the land is very close, very powerful. So I remember him walking around the land, holding his a olive branch, and with that he could feel the energy of the water. And at the moment, the olive branch will vibrate, right? And he could tell you, "Hey, here it's the water." Right? It was so good that he could tell you also how deep is the water. So people who dig in and find this water, right? I remember people from Germany used to come and visit him, right? So it was very well known in his community, right? But also outside Italy too. So I got to spend incredible time with him, especially because spending time with him was for me a way to learn this path. Although I was very young, and for me was all only mostly storytelling, because he was telling me stories about spirits, about plants, right? And there were stories, bedtime stories, right? And I still remember some of them, but it was surely a way for him to teach me something. Of course, at the age I was young, and it was just stories of spirits and plants and things, right? But it wasn't until I got older and I traveled and I met all ayahuasca or other plant medicine, and I understood those stories were real, right? And he also had these connections with the plants and spirits, of course, in a different way that I'm working today with the Shipibo people, right? But that for me was also I'd say a nudge of a little awakening into this path. Of course, for him was a way of guiding me and teaching me and showing me something as well. And these connections with plant and spirit is still very, very alive within me. So I'm very thankful for the relationship and having him, right, that yeah, taught me so much and guided me. So yeah, I like to remember him for now and what I experienced with him. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I was imagining you as a little boy in
Mm,
Italy in the fields with the grapes and
mm.
and your grandfather, and just thinking, one of my favorite parts of this summit has been hearing stories like that people don't often tell in their daily life. But the
Mm.
idea that that thread of the plants was woven into your life from the time you were a little boy, and that now, working in Peru, I'm sure you can have conversations with the healers in Peru in a way that a lot of people can't, because you grew up with that understanding. So it's just really beautiful. I love learning how people come to this path and seeing the threads that weave
Mm.
through our lives. So could you start by telling us what is the concept of a plant spirit in the Shipibo tradition? We'll move from southern Italy to southern
Now
Peru.
we go to Peru, right?
Right.
And the Amazon of
Yeah.
Peru, and indigenous people over there, and the Shipibo people and the other indigenous people, they do believe in the spirit and plants being a sentient beings, right? And have their own intelligence, right? Have their own spirit, right? And in this tradition, I must say that I was very privileged that they welcome me in their family, right? In the way of life as well. And I spent a couple of years living in the village with them, right? And it's a beautiful way of reciprocity, right? Because I learned a lot from them, but also I was there, you know, you mentioned at the very beginning my path of a social worker. So I was there also bringing resources and support, especially with children, because that's something that I really loved. So, you know, it was a beautiful way of connecting and learning their way of life, but also supporting them, right? Much as I could, of course. And what I learned is this beautiful way of connecting, or better say, building a relationship with the spirit of a plant or a tree, right? For them, it's very important. For them, it's essential, right? And it's very sad because I was there, right? I spent time with them, right? It was very sad how the young generations is not looking at that anymore, right? And it seems to me the young generations is drawn more to our Western way of life, right? And certain things I understand, right? Wanting to study and get educated, but other things maybe, you know, they're not so supportive of them, right? In, you know, technology or, you know, our way of life, right? And so that's what I noticed, that the young generations is not so interested, and this knowledge is slowly also disappearing, right? Is going away, you know, with the wisdom of the elders, right? And so I received so much from them, and what I want to share with you as well, this beautiful technology of building a relationship with the spirit of a plant or a tree, right? And you do so in order to receive their guidance, right? Their support, the healing powers, right? Maybe the Icarus, which are the second song, right? Um, and I like to remember those maestros and elders and the way of their dieting, especially in the past. They were leaving the family, they were leaving the village, they were leaving the community to go in isolation, right? Deep in the jungle, away from everybody, right? To be there in ceremony, to be there in devotions with the plants and spirit of those plants by drinking the extract of maybe a tree, maybe of a plant, in order to build this relationship, to connect with them, right? Receive the guidance, the insights, maybe through dreams, maybe during ayahuasca ceremonies, because for them, ayahuasca ceremonies is also a portal. It's a portal, right? It's a gateway to meet those spirits and meet the spirits of the plant and the tree that they are drinking as a tea, right? To receive the guidance, the protections, but also to receive the healing powers, right? So they could return to their family, return to the village, the community, and use those energies, right, through those songs and Icarus to heal others, right? To heal the community, the village, the patients, right? It's a beautiful way of connecting, right, with source, connecting with the womb of nature, right? Leaving the family, right? In this a way of stepping into a different power, right? Different knowledge, different vibrations, these vibrations of plant and spirits, which is this very important for them, right? And receive that guidance, receive these powers right before returning home, returning to the village. And so that's the way of master plan dietas, right? In a nutshell, right? It's about to really build a relationship with the spirit of a plant or a tree, to create an alliance with that spirit, right? And to receive this protection, guidance, healing for yourself and others, but also to innate, right? Reactivate or reawakening, awakening, as this conference is all about, right? Our inner spirit, right? And inner source, right? And it's very beautiful. And what happens to our groups or the people that come to us in the jungle, right? They leave the family, right? They come from far away. They come from, you know, mostly the Western country, right? They leave the community and to be with us, but to enter really the womb of nature, Mother Nature, right? It's not technology anymore. There's no internet anymore. Of course, they're there, right? With us, but especially with the plants and the spirits of those plants, right? They connect with those plants and those trees. They follow the guidance of our maestro, right? The Shipibo maestro, in this case, Don Miguel, right? So in order to create this relationship, right, to heal, to shape, but, you know, to really reconnect and reawake this inner power, innate power of themselves. And I could continue, right, to tell you more. And yeah, for now, I'm going to pause and see if you have other questions for me.
Of course I have questions. One of the things that has sort of been a theme across a lot of our interviews is the idea of taking time.
Mm,
I think, one of the things that modern society has done, and I think it's permeated indigenous communities and the children there, is that everything moves really fast. We want
right.
everything quickly, we want everything now, and we want to be there already, kind of, that sort of feeling like I want to be there and I want it to be done and I want to get it fast. And you said that you lived in the Shipibo community for a couple of years before you started thinking about this, and that there was a reciprocal relationship where you were there genuinely from your heart to offer your heart and your services to the community and to their children. And I think that it's really important for people to hear that
Right.
that this journey takes time, that it's
Mm,
not something that happens immediately. And I mean, there are definitely immediate benefits, and our lives can shift instantly from being in ceremony, but that we need to allow ourselves time to learn
mm.
these things. And I want to ask you, in terms of physical and emotional and spiritual healing, how do the plant spirits play a role in people's healing?
Yeah, good questions. And it's something that it is another awakening of mine, right? And just tell you a little story about me before, answer these questions. Is about when I met ayahuasca, right? And the awakening was powerful. The awakening was profound. The awakening was deep, which came with transformations and healing, of course, right? And for sometimes ayahuasca for me was everything. I thought was, yes, this is the tool, especially because as we spoke before about a social worker, and you supporting different people, different for different way of life, and there's always something it's like, I want to support somebody, I want to help somebody, but that's something that I cannot do. And I found ayahuasca, right? So this is a powerful tool that can support humanity, right? But it wasn't until I went to Peru and I decided to, take this journey and spend time there that now there was a new awakening, right? A different understanding that all the plants and trees around us can give us a benefit and they all have medicine, right? And of course, some plants you need to bring more respect than others. Some other plants you need to like learn from a master, right? And so what I learned from Don Miguel, my master, my maestro, my teacher, right? And especially for him, he says like when he sees a plant that he doesn't know in the jungle, right? And he wants to know the benefits, right? The physical, maybe emotional, but spiritual benefits of these plants. What he does is he takes the leaves with him, he bathes his body with him, or just his face before going to bed, right? In a way, calling the spirit of the plant to come in his dream, so he could learn, the benefits of these plants, right? What are the powers and the medicine of these plants, right? And so what this was for me another awakening again, right? Because now in the jungle of Peru, when I'm there and I look around, even the most insignificant plant from my eyes, right? Because what is that? Right? It's all power, it's whole benefit, right? And it's about taking the time, right? Because if you hear and the teachings of the maestros, right, and what they believe, the plants and spirit and mother and medicine, right, nature always speaks to us, right? Sometimes the vibration is very subtle, right? Sometimes it comes to the form of a melody, like an Icaro, for example, right? And we have to quiet the mind in order to receive those insights, right? Those messages, right? And that's what it's all about doing a master plan dieta. You leave the family, you leave your responsibility maybe for a moment, right? To be in this quiet space, right? And you're avoiding certain food, right? During a master plan dieta, you will avoid certain food, right? Especially food that really activates your body. Maybe it's salt, the sugar, the oils, right? The spices, the caffeine, the chocolate maybe, right? Just to really calm this mind. Avoid a certain activity, abstain from sex, for example, right? When we arouse, our mind, our body changes, right? We abstain from sex, right? And in order to quiet the mind, right? We go through some cleanses. We want to detoxify the body, right? Especially with saunas, with vomitivo, with purgative plants, right? But at the end, we keep this mind quiet so we can finally hear those voices of the plants and spirit, right? And you're right, so we need to take the time, right? And this awareness to receive, first of all, right? And I look at this way, right? We mentioned before this reciprocity, right? And it's in Peru they call it aini, and often we want to meet the spirit of the plant or the tree, right? I want the spirit to come to my dream, to come to my ayahuasca ceremonies, to be there whispering to me, to give me songs, right? But I like it to look at a different way, more of like I want to offer my time. I'm offering my diet, right? I'm sacrificing certain food. I'm abstaining from sex, for example. I'm in isolations. I'll be in silence, really. I'm offering my time, right? And of course, it can be through its rituals or, by smoking the pipe, for example, or other tools of the Shipibo people, right? And so I'm here to really offer you something, my time, my my presence, right? In order to, of course, come and getting closer and closer to you, right? To the plants and the spirits.
Yeah, I was listening to what you were just saying, and I have this feeling, like I always say to people, the universe is paying attention. The spirits are actually paying attention. And I feel sometimes like they have little check marks that they give you, like, let's see if they're paying attention. And if you are listening and you're paying attention and you give that time, they will start to speak to you. But I feel like they wait. They wait to see your intention. And if they've been trying to get your attention, they can do it in some not very pleasant ways. But if you're being demanding, I think that they wait. So I think it's beautiful that you said, it's about what we want to think about, what we want to offer to them in return for the wisdom that they offer to us. So you mentioned Icaros, and Icaros are just the most gorgeous thing. And I wonder if you could speak about Icaros a little bit and tell us how they're used to communicate.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you a little bit more of that, and I'm gonna speak as well from my experience with them, with Shu people. And again, I'm very privileged because I spend a lot of time with them, and I get to learn also the meaning of those secrets as well, right? And of course, the powers comes from the maestros, the person that channels those sacred chants, sacred songs, right? And it's believed that truly those songs comes from the plants, from spirits as well, right? And so they have been given to the maestros from those master plantitas, right? Those time of isolations, maybe on during the dream times, right? And often those Icarus speak about their master plant they've dieted, right? Let's say I've dieted a tree, a dear tree of me, right? Maybe I'd say Noyarao, which is very important tree for me and this tradition, for example, right? And I receive a song from Noyarao. Often the song is really calling the presence of the energy and the spirit of Noirao, right? For guidance, for protections, right? We mentioned that, but also to heal our patient, right? Because our group of people around us often. And so the Icarus really speaks about that, right? And most of the times our songs, they're being channeled from those plants and these trees. Some other times songs, they're being passed on to from a lineage of our maestros, right? So it's very beautiful and powerful that our teachers, our maestros also teach these Icaros to the students, right? It's one way, right, to pass on this knowledge, right? The wisdom, right? This doesn't stay here, right? Doesn't stop, with us, right? Continues repel to others and the people. And I think when we look at the plants and medicine, right, and we say that before, right, we're not so foreign, we're not so far away from plants. We are in a part of nature as well, right? And so we all have our own medicine, right? And hopefully through these devotions with the plants and spirits, we can awaken our own medicine. And what the maestro teaches and what they want to give us, right? Also through their songs, if you get to learn and translate them, right, tells us also to reawake or activate or awaken these energies of the medicine within us, right? Because so we can be the medicine for ourselves and others, right? This healing doesn't stop with us, right? It just continues for others as well. And it's very important. It's fundamental as well for all of us, right? And don't think you come to Peru to receive the power of the energies of the plants and the songs and then just keep it for yourself, right? No, you have now this role also to be the medicine. Of course, we all have our own medicine. We're all different people, right? Like all the plants, if you look at them, they're all different, but also have their own different medicine, right? We're not so far away from nature, right? And so maybe this medicine can be a shared, our own medicine can be shared with others, right? And the role of the Icarus is very important, of course, in ceremonies as well, right? And I just mentioned about calling the spirits of the plants, the master plants, but also, right, guiding the patients, the people in ceremony, on the ayahuasca ceremony, right? Also, a tool for guidance, right, to bring this to guide or actually protect the ceremony, if you look at that way, right, in a way that it's the space is held, right, so protected and safe as well, right? So some Icaros are also used for protections, for example, right, and to learn their meaning, really they call in this protection, especially when that are sung during a ceremony, an ayahuasca ceremony, right? And there are the other set of Icaros, which are for healing, for cleansing the body, the spirit, and the mind, also of the patient for the maestro, right? And there is all other a set of Icaros that their function is to connect the student, the patient, to their master plan theater, right? So it's in a way of calling the master plan theater for the student, for the patient, so this person can be connected, right? United with the spirit of the plant. So the different Icaros used in different ways, right? And are performed in ceremony, especially with ayahuasca.
Thank you. You mentioned master plant dietas, and I want you to talk a little bit about that. But I just want to comment that, Aya Healing is a world-renowned program. People come to you from all over the world, and I just want to say it's so beautiful to hear you speak of your master teacher yourself. That no matter how much success we have, we're still growing. And we're still learning. And it's just beautiful. And you're very humble about your relationship with Don Miguel. And I just really appreciate that. So I just wanted to thank you for being you and for being so honest with us about that. So it's beautiful. So how does one prepare for a master plant dieta?
Right. Well, the preparation is a fundamental part of the diet as well, right? Before and during and the dieta, right? If you look at that, what I mentioned before is about cleansing our body so we can be present to hear the subtle voices of the plants, right, and spirit as well. So in a way, we avoiding certain food. Those food they really change our body compositions, maybe activates our body, right? We stop using a salt, for example, or sugar, right? Oils, right? And other food that really activates the body, like caffeine, spices, the chocolate, red meat, and other things. Also garlic and onion, right? Something else that really can activate our body, right? Fruits and vitamin C, something else as well, right? If you look at the traditional way, it's a very plain food, right? Maybe some rice, some plantain, potatoes, right? And fish, usually river fish, right? Small river fish, right? Of course, nowadays our diet might be different, but the most important things is avoiding the salt, the sugar, the oils, the pork, the red meat, the garlic, the onion, right? The spices, as well like caffeine and alcohol too, right? And fermented food as well. And also one way is to looking as in Shipibo they call it meketi, right? Meketi is to take care of ourselves, our own energy, right? And the meketi is, for example, abstain from sex, but that's not the only things that you have to think of, right? Is a way of, change the way you behave, right? The way you think, for example, the way you move. When you're in a dieta, especially during the dieta, we move slowly, right? For example, think in a way that is more calling in the plant spirit, right? That's why we often in isolation, right? So we don't get to in spending time to get distracted our mind instead of focusing on our data, right? And the way we think, especially when we arrive around others, is to be non-judgmental, for example, right? And kind with our words, to speak slowly and gentle with others, right? If there are others around, especially during, a data with a group of people, right? And during the time, you want to find ways to bring the plant spirit closer to you, right? And you can do this by maybe rituals. In the Shipibo way, they use tools like the pipe and the mapacho, right? They believe mapacho is the most powerful of all the plant spirit, as powerful, if not more, of ayahuasca, for example. And through the mapacho, they can call in the spirit of the plant, the master plant, for example, right? They can receive guidance with their pipe, right? For example, and they will drink during the master plant data the extract of the plant. Yeah, if you're alone, or maybe you're a maestro, you'll prepare the extract of the plant using the bark of the plant, for example, right? And you boil the plants and you'll be drinking the extract, right? And so in one way, you want to avoid certain food, right? And to cleanse the body, right? To be prepared, right? To prepare your inner soil, because then you're planting the seed of the master plant by drinking the extract, for example, right? By receiving the icaros of your maestro, your teacher during the ceremonies, right? All those icaros that holds in your master plant data for you to connect with this tree or the plant, for example, right? And and then so you might agree to for a time when you'll be dying, right? 10 days, 20 days, maybe a month or longer, right? So you can spend time with your master plant dietas, right? Be drinking the extract, maybe sitting in ceremonies, right? But also, a calling in the plants, in the spirit of those plants during, the dream state, right? Because that's really what happens, right? And after we sacrifice those food and we offer our presence, right? We might receive their message, maybe, or their presence, right, in our dreams, right? And so at those moments, our mind is quiet, right? When we are in altered state of consciousness, maybe when in ayahuasca, and we get to meet our spirits of our master plant, or maybe when we are dreaming, right? When we are asleep, right? So it's important before going to bed, right, to match your room, right, your temple space with your mapacho, right, in a way to protect the space, to call in the master plant and spirit of the master plant, so you get to meet her or him or them in your dreams, right, to hopefully receive their messages, insights, and healing powers. And so at the end of the daytime, and you'll be performing the closing of your dieta, right? If you have your maestro, if you have your teacher, right, he'll be singing to you the special songs, special icaros that's called arcana. Arcana means in the Shipibo language protection, right? They're gonna sing to you this protective icaros, right, in order to, like, you know, now seal these energies, right, that is grown within you. Planted seed, you'll be drinking the extract during the period of time. Now it's time to close this dieta. You'll be receiving the arcana, those songs of protections, right? And then the dieta is sealed, the dieta is closed. But before you return to your normal way of life, where the food, and the diet they used to eat is normal, right? You go through a post-dieta requirement, right? So certain things that you want to avoid still for a period of time. That really depends on how long you've been dieting for, right? In a way, it's a very important time to follow the post-dieta, because think about it. You've been dieting for a month or two, avoiding certain food. You don't want to go right away to eat cheese or pastas or gluten or drinking alcohol, right? Your system, your body will be reacting, right? It'll be crashing, right? So, you know, in order to also, you know, get your body the time to return to its normal diet, right? You have to follow post dieta, but also in a way to honor and respect your master plant. Now that the dieta is closed, right? It's a time to maybe, you know, keep these energies on master plant dieta still within you, right? And you protected yourself, right? Until you return to your normal life and diet, right? And the length of the post dieta, the requirement of the post dieta usually have been been prescribed by your teacher, the maestro, the person that supervised your master plant, right? And you know, it's a beautiful way to devote. It's a devotional path, right? And it's something that is very important to me and our maestros and this tradition, right? Which I feel like you mentioned before as well about taking the time, and I feel like in the modern days we look into like plant medicine, like for example ayahuasca, but you can name it many others. Maybe like looking at like this quick fix, so maybe, you know, this altered state of experience, right, and of consciousness that, you know, it can in a way be very powerful, very strong, and sometimes you get to chase that experience over and over and over again, right? We want to experience this you know, this incredible experience over and over again, and we're missing the point. While with this path of master plan dieta is more a devotional path, right? Because, you know, you're drinking the strat, you're in isolations, you meditate, right? You're avoiding certain things and other, right? You spend times and days and weeks and months, right? In isolation sometimes, right? So it's a more a devotional path, right? And something that you earn from, right? Instead of like, you know, I want this quick fix, or I want to this mind-blowing experience, right? And then, you know, nothing has changed. Just gonna continue chasing them, perhaps.
Yeah, that, you know, when you were describing that it's really a devotional path, I was thinking it's kind of like people try to cram all of their joy into a 2-week vacation. Like a 2-week holiday, you know. And I think people often think about plant medicine in the same way. Like, I'm going to go to the Amazon, I'm going to do, you know, a few ayahuasca ceremonies, I'm going to cram all of my spirituality into 5 days. And then I'm going to go home and go back to business as usual. And I would love for you to talk. You said something that I thought was really lovely. You said, we are the medicine, like you
Yeah.
are the medicine. So you take these plants into you, they become a part of who you are. They're always inside of you, ready to answer questions, ready to offer support and healing, and to offer support and healing to others. So I'd love for you to say a little bit about that integration process and taking the medicine home with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that as well. It's very important. You know, it's something that in my visions and the visions of the people that work with us is very important, right? Because that's what we say, right? Now you don't need us, right? You have this medicine, right? And we hope like in months' time, a year time, you can look back, and of course, that experience of being in the jungle, doing a master plan dieta is not a vacation, as you mentioned before, right? It can be a very challenging experience, right? It can be very confronting for some people, right? Even just being in the jungle can be overwhelming, of course, right? And so, well, that's what it's of inspirations for us, because we know that in months time, maybe year time, there's people that can look back and see that their hard work that they put on the master plan dietas, on the time in the jungle, has paid off, right? And of course, it doesn't change in a day overnight, so to say, right? We still have to put our work, right? So the importance of integrations is fundamental, right? Because of course, when you do such experience with master plan dieta, for example, you feel very expanded, right? You feel this like a river of knowledge, just blessing you over and over and over, right? But also there will be a time, right, especially after the dieta, sometimes even just the day before the dieta is closed, for example, right, there is an energy of a closure, right? And so after an expansion, there's always, right, these energies of contractions, right? And so it's very important that those people that decided to do such a powerful journey with ayahuasca or master plan dieta understand that it's going to be a period of contractions, right? And the contraction is actually a powerful moment, right? Because it's from that contraction that you be honoring yourself now. You mentioned before this everyday life or go, go, go. Now with these contractions really demands your presence, right? And there's a presence of transform. It is a energy of transformations, right? And sometimes it's true that we feel that we need to be more in our own cocoon, right? And it's time to really of course regenerate our energy and feel more ourselves, right? And it's a way of the energies, normal energies flow, right? And there will be moments actually that's bringing to balance, right? From these expansions to contractions, right? It's a moment of integrating, right? Which I love the way I look at integrations very simply as a self-love, right? Now there is contractions. What I do, I bring this energy of self-love towards me, right? I didn't do anything bad, nothing's wrong with me, or I didn't mess with my dieta, for example. People think about that. No, it's a normal way of these energies of contraction now, right? And so I can bring into these tools of self-love. And of course, we all different people and we have all our different ways that we can nourish ourselves, right? And that's where we really want to put an emphasis as well, especially during our retreats and dietas during and towards the end, especially, but also afterwards, right? We for example, the people that they come to us, they receive a integration calls after the retreats, because really it's a way of reminding them, right, to bring their own resources, right, during the time of, like, for example, nourishing ourselves, right? The Miketi, they take care of self, right? The Shipibo work continues also afterwards, right? And the different way that we teach the people as well, also to bring home the tools, right, they learn from the Shipibo people, right? And hopefully one day or another, right, now this fire within themselves, the candle now light again, right, of their own medicine, right? And hopefully they'll learn, right, some of the Icaros from the maestros. Maybe they learn a new way. Maybe the guidance of the plants show them a new way, and they can now, it's time for them to do the work, right? For the work, because that makes sense that we need to also, make those change in our life, and hopefully bring these energies within ourselves, of our own medicine, to others, to ourselves, of course, and our family, right, and our community. It doesn't mean that we now know a shaman or a maestro, right? I'm sure ourselves, each one of us is different, right? And each one of us have their own in medicine, right? So hopefully what they've received from the plants, right, they can shine to their life, right? And they can be this change, ripple of change for others as well.
Beautiful. I have an expression that I use for myself quite often when I feel like I have too much on my plate. I tell myself it's time to slow down to the pace of Pachamama.
Yeah.
It's time to take it down a notch, synchronize my heartbeat with the heartbeat of the mother, and return to a sane frame of mind. And I think that that's beautiful to remind ourselves that we want to return to that wisdom, and that we can do that daily. And like you said, the fire may become a candle, but that's
Yeah.
all that we need. You
Right.
know, that's all that we need as long as we have that candle burning. Um, so we're almost at the end of our time together. And I want to ask you one more question before we end, which is there anything that the plants are telling us, any messages that you're hearing consistently these days about what we need to know as humans moving forward at this time on our planet?
Hmm. Well, something that really want to share, I think these questions really caused me to share that, and it's something that I noticed in the past a few months, especially right with the people around me, and there's this message that is coming out over and over again. Is about taking care, right, of the land, right? And what the visions that really is comes out to many of our participants or in the past few months is about also the snake mother of all, which is the rivers, right? And it's something that is really makes my heart really painful, really what's happening, for example, nowadays with the rivers and the forests in the Amazon right now, for example, not only in Peru, but the whole South America, right, which is burning, and the river drying more and more, right? Even the Amazon River, which is a terrible situations, not only for the indigenous people there, of course, and the plants and the animals they leave the forest, but to all humanity as well. And it's true in the past months, many of the same visions of the mother snake, the snake of all the rivers, is crying, right? Is in despair, right? I think the message is very clear, right? And it's bringing coming up, not only for me. I'm not speaking just only for me, the visions that we receive into spirit, but also from the many of people that are around us. And so us as humanity, I see the messages. We have to do something about it, and it needs to be done right now, right? And what's possible for us is to really take care of our motherland, this beautiful snake, for example, of the rivers, but also the Amazon, right? So the message is very clear, right? And it's a hard message, right? Because it's happening in our very eyes, right? And but it's something that we need to, as a collective, to do something about it, to support our Mother Earth.
Thank you. That message has come in loud and clear from all across the planet. So thank you for saying that. And we all need to hear it over and over again until the changes are made that need to be made. So thank you so much. And I want to say that you have offered our audience a gift, and it's an ebook around Master Plant Dieta. Do you want to say just a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a guidebook, and you can find it on our website. I think there is a link here in the descriptions, perhaps. And you can just simply by going to the website and subscribe to our newsletter, you receive an ebook, and it's a guidebook of my experience, for example, with the Shipibo people, right, and the Master Plan Dieta, things that I shared here, for example. But also I'll tell you a story about my own personal experience with the master plant dietas, and now the changes that brought to my life. And so it's both stories of my experience, but also what I learned from the Shipibo people.
Beautiful. Well, I will be eager to read that story. You've piqued my curiosity. And I'm also going to put a plug in. I'm going to put a link just because I want to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
There's beautiful Icaros there, stories that Don Miguel tells about healing, and just so many beautiful offerings there. So I highly encourage people to visit your YouTube channel as well. And the link is also under this video. So I want to thank you again, Elio. This time has just flown by. I hope you'll come back and join us again. And I want to thank you for your generosity and sharing your incredible wisdom and all the beautiful work that you do in the world.
Thank you so much, Tricia, and everybody there with you as well.
And to everyone who is viewing and participating in our summit this year, we thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us, to receive this deep and powerful wisdom that Elio has shared with us today. And we hope that you will join us for our next interviews around the cosmic fire.